Well, folks, things have been a bit heavy duty recently, so I thought I'd indulge myself and take a look at some Hollywood garbage called Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. I know that some of the big channels which focus on movie criticism have already butchered this hog because of the plot holes and crap characters, but I'm always fascinated by the subtext and the clever little messages and narratives that Hollywood slyly slips into their content. I didn't actually mind the movie before this one. I like that Bryce Dallas Howard had a story arc which saw her transform from a corporate bitch feminist in a power suit to something more womanly and attractive as the film went on. I thought that was a nice touch. So the story this time around is that the island, which was a theme park, has dinosaurs running amok on it now, wild. But it's about to be destroyed by a volcano which has just become active again because nobody checked that out or whatever in the first film. Bryce Dallas Howard now returns. She's a liberal activist group which is dedicated to the well-being of the dinosaurs and which is lobbying to get the dinosaurs off the volcanic island. You can see where this is. You can see where this. So Jurassic Park regular Jeff Goldblum, I know. Once again, he plays the hyper-intelligent scientist who reels off loads of supposedly deep and clever lessons. He wants the dinosaurs to be left to die, that nature should take its course. But Bryce Dallas Howard's lefty activists are triggered and think the dinosaurs should be airlifted out and given sanctuary. This is literally the story, for Christ's sake. Dinosaurs are welcome here. Stop being such a bigot. And they aren't given the wink either. This isn't some clever parody. They're playing this straight. But anyway, they don't have time to debate the ethics of saving the dinosaur refugees because evil white men are going to go into the island to steal the dinosaurs and sell them on the black market to the Russians. And I know what you're thinking. Why didn't the Russians just go to the island themselves? But don't bother. Don't bother switching your brain on. Not yet, anyway. So anyway, Chris Pratt, who was the main bloke of the film, and to be fair enough, it's a normal sort of kind of masculine white man. Alright, we can't grumble at that. Him and the lefties go with the evil white men poachers to the island. Loads of boring action scenes happen, and when the white poachers behave like bastards, they turn on Chris Pratt and the lefties, but then in the end they all come back with the dinosaurs. Once back at the auction, we find out the evil white men and a Chinese scientist have made a super soldier dinosaur. The idea is that a soldier will point a laser from a gun at an enemy and then the dinosaur will react to it and eat the enemy. I mean, is that actually better than just firing a bullet? For fuck's sake. At any rate, it's not just the Russians who are at the auction. There's also a couple of good old boy Texans and 20-gallon hats as well, and a few Japanese. In other words, every male stereotype that a Hollywood liberal doesn't like is in the film in a negative role. Isn't it clever how they do that? And most of the time it's done in such a way that if you point it out, you look like a bit of a kook. People are going to think you're paranoid, but it's there. It is there, trickling its way into the thoughts of normies every day. In the biggest propaganda machine in the world. Eventually, after loads more crap action scenes, the dinosaur refugees break loose, but then get stuck in a gas chamber. The SJWs think about saving the dinosaurs, wrestle with it. I'm going to have to calm myself down. They wrestle with the idea of saving the dinosaurs. But Bryce Dallas Howard backs off. Instead, a young girl who's also a genetically modified clone does set the dinosaurs loose because she sympathises with them. The girl was only in the story to do this because otherwise it would have literally been a case of SJWs releasing 30-ton predators into the Western world on humanitarian grounds. The point is, the movie wanted to introduce the idea of dinosaur diversity. It just didn't want to blame liberals for bringing about the end of the world. Again, it's clever how they do that, isn't it? But then as the film winds down, Jeff Goldblum pops up again with another deep monologue. And really, it's this monologue which fascinated me. Goldblum's role in the Jurassic Park series has always been that of the moderating voice. Throughout the franchise, he warned against the meddling with DNA. He was warning against the Frankenstein scenario, which would be brought about by modernity and capitalism and science. And now, in this recent addition to the series, his monologue amounts to telling the world that we're fucked, basically. That the shining progressive future based on humanism and science, which has been promised, is never going to come to fruition, and that humanity can be expect to be destroyed. He says the power of DNA has been unleashed. Interesting, isn't it? The message being sent out to young audiences across the West is, you thought you were the apex predator. You thought that your privileged existence would last forever, but you were wrong. Prepare for the worst. No, I don't think this is code for the Great Replacement or one world government or a war with Islam or whatever issue you might be thinking of, but more that he's speaking to the general zeitgeist within the Western world today. But it's also something I've noticed for a while now about these big, dumb, liberal Hollywood productions. Basically, it's apocalyptic propaganda. Here, Jeff Goldblum is essentially reading out an end times prophecy for the masses. The movie's literally called The Fallen Kingdom. In the last Avengers movie, half the population of the universe was wiped out. And Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy was very rare in Hollywood because it was, I would say, spiritually right-wing. And the famous line by Alfred describing the Joker was, some men just want to watch the world burn, because the Joker was pure nihilist, of course. And yet, that's also how we could describe the people who run Hollywood. They just want to watch it all burn. And that's definitely the message they're giving out in so many of these blockbusters now. There's no catharsis there. It's literally just saying it's all coming down. It's all going to crash and burn. There's no catharsis. Prepare yourself. Like I say, it's funny what you find in these big dumb blockbusters, isn't it? Catch you later, folks.